Hey everyone, welcome to InterviewPro. In the last video, we've created a template-driven form using ng form and ng model directives. We have also seen how to group form controls using ng model group. But this form just accepts the data entered by the user. We cannot bind the data to this form. To bind data to this form, you can either create individual variables in the feedback component or maintain a model with all these details. It's preferable to create a model. I have created a folder models under app and added a file called feedback.ts. It has two classes, feedback and address. Feedback class has the properties name, age group, playlist, feedback, send updates. Address is this class again, which has city, state, country, and zip code. Let's make use of this model in the feedback component. I have already created a property called feedback model, which is of type feedback, which is nothing but this class here. This feedback model has dummy data. I have given test user 1 as name, age group 1, which is nothing but 18 to 24. Then we have playlist as Angular. This is the value that I have assigned, not this text which is displayed on the screen. Then we have address, which is grouped using ng model group. This has test city, test state, test country, and this test zip code. Then we have feedback. I haven't assigned any value to this. It's just an empty string. Send updates is this checkbox, which is either true or false. In this case, I have assigned it as true. To bind this model to the form, we need to use the attribute of ng model. Instead of just assigning ng model here, we have to use the attribute binding. So let me use the square brackets here and assign this with our model value. This is the input which accepts the username. And what is the property that corresponds to the username in our model? It is name, right? So let's take this feedback model, assign this to ng model, and the property that we want to use is the name. If we go to the UI, we see that the user test user 1 is binded to this name because if you look at this feedback model, this is the value that I have given. If I say test user 100 and save it, go back to UI, we see test user 100 or 10,000, whatever, is binded to this name. We also see the form updated with this value. Let me just display this model as well here. Feedback model. Let's copy it from here. And it doesn't have any dot value. It's just feedback model. So this is our form value and this is our model. Now we want to bind this whole data to this form. Let's do this. So make this a property binding. For age group, it's feedback model dot age group. For the playlist, it's feedback model dot playlist. This is going to be the same for all the radio buttons in the playlist. Let's just copy paste it. For address, it's going to be feedback model dot address dot city. Because we grouped all these controls under address, this is going to be address dot city. For state and country as well, update this to state, country, zip code. Then we have feedback. This is going to be feedback model dot feedback. Finally, we have send update. This is going to be feedback model dot send update. Let's save it. Go back to UI. We see error here. Age group does not exist. Okay, this has to be in caps. Age group. So the name should match with this. We have Pascal case here, but I used lowercase. So let me just quickly update them. Okay, now all the errors are resolved and you can see that the data is binded to all these controls. In the address, the city, state, and country are updated to the respective values. The playlist, I have selected the Angular. So Angular radio button is selected. Age group is 1. So the first option is selected. Then for feedback, I have given empty string, so we don't see any feedback here. Then for the send updates, the value is true, so the checkbox is checked. Now if I add something here, like Angular playlist is good, we see that the form is updated but not the model. This is because when we use only square brackets, it is one-way data binding. We have already learned what is two-way data binding in Angular, right? So if you want to display the data from this model to this form, it can be done using square brackets. But if you want to enter some value here and you want this value to be binded to your model, it has to be done using two-way binding. So let's update all these ng models with two-way binding. This is banana in the box format. So let me do the same for all the ng models. I will replace them, replace all, save, go back to UI. Now we have everything binded to our form. If I enter something here, see that this is also updated, not just the form, but also the model. Now if I click on submit, let me inspect, go to console, we see the object submit, but instead of using the form, now we can directly use this feedback model. So let me console log the feedback model as well. Okay, this should be this dot feedback model. Inspect and enter some value here for the feedback. Angular, go to console. Now if I click on submit, this is the form object and this is the form model. If you look at this feedback, we see Angular, the text that I typed here. So this is how you can use models to bind your data to the template-driven forms. I hope the concept is clear. If you like the content, please like, share and subscribe to InterviewPro. Thank you.